is a Monday morning and I am going to take myself on a little trip back to Mottisfont. What I haven't mentioned on my channel yet is that I have been, for the last few years, trying to write a children's book. In fact, there will be 4 children's books, one for each of the seasons, and I'm still on spring. And I just haven't had the time. I haven't had the time to sit and really work on it. I am 3/4 of the way through the first draft of the first book. But whenever I go to Mottisfont, that is when I get the most inspiration, and it always happens. And even when I was there last week, I could feel it. I was trying to take videos and pictures of things to kind of take back with me, but it doesn't work, especially when you're distracted running after a 2-year-old. So I'm going up there today on my own, notebook in hand, and I'm going to just spend a couple of hours on my own enjoying it and just getting as much down as possible, and then I can try and work on this going forwards. I'm also then going to put in place a 30-minute block in my diary where every afternoon, for example, I sit and I write for 30 minutes specifically on the books, hoping to get them finished. They may never be published, but I would like to complete them for me and to be able to read them to my daughter and gift them to my daughter, as it were, when she's a bit bigger. So that's what I'm going to do. Heading off to Mottisfont now. Right, I found myself a little bench. I'm in an area where not many people tend to come. Everyone's going straight up to the rose gardens and the kitchen gardens. So it's quite peaceful down here at the moment. I've got my book and a little cup of coffee. I've brought my thermos flask with me. And I'm going to sit and write because I have a river creature to create and some other bits and pieces for this book that I want to kind of nail down, so I'm going to crack on with it. I am back home now from my little trip, and I've logged back in to Readsy, which is where I'm writing my book on, which is an online type app. And I've got to 13,831 words in total for the novel so far, which really isn't a lot. Now, I had started writing this a couple of years back, and when my daughter was a newborn, and obviously newborns sleep quite a lot, and I was on maternity leave, I did those 13,000 words, and I probably have written about 800 or so words since then. So it's taken me a long time, so I'm really going to try and put just 30 minutes aside each day to do some writing. My little trip out this morning really helped. I've written down loads of notes in my notebook. I'm going to transfer those notes into Readsy and then crack on with it for 30 minutes a day. That's the plan. And because I've said it on here, that's going to keep me accountable to actually do the writing. So we will see how I get on week by week with the word count. I couldn't tell you if any of this is quality writing. It probably really isn't, but I would just like to have this completed for me. And I've also written download ideas for the second book, which will be the summer book. So yeah, so I've got the outline of the story for book 2 sorted as well, which is really, really nice. This is the inside of the shed that will eventually be moving. It's a 6 foot by 6 foot shed. Plenty of space. It's just full of junk. Stuff that I couldn't fit in the house has just gone out here. I've got boxes of tea sets that I'm never going to use. Loads of poles that I use for my netting. Got a nice little snail there. Loads of pots that were left behind by the previous owner. So really good space. It's just full of rubbish at the moment, and it all needs to be cleared and tidied up, ready for when we move. We're going to have to take this apart, I believe, to move it, but it's all a bit wonky, and like the door doesn't fit, for example, and stuff like that. So try and put it back together properly. There's a lot of junk in there though, and a lot of junk that isn't mine. It's what was left from the previous occupant, which I have unfortunately just dumped into the garden. So I'm going to sort through all of it before putting things back into the shed. One thing I will say is that there's 2 wooden boxes in here that will be quite useful. This one I'm going to repaint because it is quite nice. I'll probably reupholster that cushion, store things in there, and then that's just a standard wooden box which did have loads of paint samples in. I'm not sure what the paint samples are for. It doesn't say whether it's wall paint or wood paint or what it is. I might have a look at some of them because I might be able to use that to paint that potentially, instead of buying more paint. So it's worth having a look. It's looking a little bit more organised now. I've chucked out a load of rubbish that we don't need, and I'm going to pop a load of stuff onto Facebook Marketplace just to get rid of it. So at least when we take this shed apart to move it, I haven't got as much rubbish to move. I am quite looking forward to, though, trying to restore that little wooden seat, though. I think that could be quite cute. I really want to move this ladder into the shed in the garden because it won't fit anywhere up here. I don't want it just living in my office. So I'm going to finish off some little jobs in the 3 bedrooms upstairs that need the ladder for the door frames, get those done and dusted, and then I can move it downstairs and forget about it, because every time I move this up and down the stairs I make marks on the hallway walls, which is not ideal. So I also need to repaint parts of the hallway. It's just big and clunky and it weighs a ton, so lots of little finishing off bits this week just to kind of finally get the rooms more or less complete. In a previous video, I showed you my knitting project that I was working on, which was this. And I've now finished it. I'm really pleased with how it's come out. I just need to sew in the ends, and then it needs to be blocked, which is washing and reshaping essentially, to get it into its final size and shape. And then I can try it on and show you all. But I'm happy with how it's come out. It's not one that I would be repeating. It took a very long time. But I do like how it's come out. I do really like the colour as well. So I'll show you that when it's fully complete. This cardigan has now been washed and blocked, but I've realised that I'd actually want some buttons. So I'm going to have a look through this, my collection of buttons, and see what I want to add and use. The lighting over there wasn't all that great. So these are the buttons that I've chosen, that I've obviously picked up from somewhere or possibly removed from a old item of clothing, but they're quite pretty. I think they'll go nicely with the green. I've just added on the buttons. I think they look quite good. I think the colour works with them. So I'm just going to try it on now and show you the finished piece. Okay, I'm in my daughter's room at the moment because I've got better lighting at this time of day. So here is the finished piece.
Now, I went for a slightly cropped version, mainly because I just couldn't take this pattern anymore. It wasn't an enjoyable knit, so I wanted to get it finished. It was also meant to be long sleeved, and again, I was like, no, 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 I just want to get it completed. So this is the final piece. You can see the little buttons as well on there that I've just added. And I'll show you the back as well. It's got all the detail that goes along there and along the side. So it was my first attempt at like a lace work pattern. That's what this is called. If I pull it like this, you can see it's lacy detailed. Oh, let's put the buttons off. Don't think I'll be attempting one of these for a little while yet. I do actually have some patterns saved that are lace work like this. There's a cotton skirt and something else that I've saved. But after doing this, I don't think I'll be rushing to do them. I would like to make some socks and some mittens next. I want to do some colour work, which I haven't done before. So we'll see if I enjoy that or not. But this, I'm really happy that it is now finished. And it fits. And because it's short and cropped, it'll be great for summer, so I can actually start wearing it now. So yeah, I will update you on what I decide my next knitting or crochet project will be. It'll probably be knitting again, and I think it's going to be socks, but I might change my mind. We'll see.